You want to call out some Lions fans in regards to the playoffs?
Look, man, look. I know that we're just now starting to experience some type of actual sustained success. Not success like when what was that year they went like 6-2 and they had Mike Furry running into the camera like we're going to the playoffs and all that stuff, and then they collapsed in the second half. I'm talking about a legitimate team. We got a legitimate front office. We got a legitimate owner. We got legitimate players. We got a decent quarterback, better than decent quarterback right now. We got some pretty good skill pieces, and I'm calling myself out too. And I heard you, Chris. I did too. I entered this season saying I just want to see a playoff win, even over a division title. I just want to see this team win a playoff game to be able to stop at least that one narrative. Then obviously next is at least make an appearance sometime in the next decade in the Super Bowl. But are we soft for just wanting one playoff win this year when this team, and I think their expectation, as they've shown us, should be probably more than that?
So you think we should raise the expectations on this team this year?
I do. I'm not saying that they should be in the Super Bowl, but what I'm saying is, why can't this team why can't we expect this team to go in there and win a couple games in this playoffs? Why shouldn't we?
I think at a certain point in the season, we kind of felt that way about this team, right? When they were like, I think four games straight of like double-digit wins. Like, I think they had the largest like win margin of any team, or at least we're up there. But then you got to see this team against the good teams. The teams are like, going to be in the playoffs, and they haven't really looked the same. And I think the only team they beat is going to finish above 500. Well, I guess now maybe the Green Bay Packers. Their schedule looks pretty easy the rest of the way. But outside of that, it was the Chiefs, and they didn't have Kelsey, and they didn't have Chris Jones. The Ravens, that was ugly. Seattle, that wasn't pretty. I mean, it was still in it, I guess.
And they should have beat Seattle, though.
They should have beat Seattle.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when I kind of look at some of the detail is when I start to actually say, I feel like us as fans should hold the organization to the same standards that we used to. Mm-hmm. We used to tell them to go out there and do more, do better. We used to tell them, you know what, we're not really going to settle for what we've come into the season with. If you guys have shown to be something, then go out there and do it, because we saw during the Stafford years, there were years when this team should have won a playoff game and they didn't. Now we're sitting here with a team that I believe is better than those teams, and we're just sitting there saying, man, we hope that they win a playoff game. And that's me too. That's Chris, bro. That's me as well. Like, I'm sitting here like, I do want to see them at least just win one. But then what are we actually saying about this build? What do we go around, we talk about Brad Holmes being the man. We go around, we talk about Dan Campbell being the man. We go around, we talk about our rookies actually being like Sam Lagoda. We talk about Jared Goff, and we actually talk about should he get the contract or not, no matter which side of the fence you on with that. We're talking about this team as if they're one of those teams that are going to go into the playoffs and actually have an opportunity to win a couple games in the playoffs. That's how we talk about them until we actually start talking about the playoffs. And then we start saying, well, hopefully they can win one game. I think with that type of mentality, if the Lions go into the playoffs with that mentality, they're not even going to win that one game. But I do believe that us as fans, I'm talking about, like, we really inspired change here with the Lions. Yeah. We were the fans that did mobilize the Million Man March and literally had them remove somebody I don't even think the organization wanted to remove. Yeah. We literally, you talk about football always sells here. Nah, we went through a stretch in time where the Lions sucked so bad that even Lions fans stopped going to the games. Or if they did show up, it was with paper bags on their heads. Yeah. I feel like this is one of those pivotal situations where we cannot let the organization believe it's okay to go out there and kind of give us the minimum of expectation. That's kind of where I'm at, man.
I'm with you. I think that's the way I think we should move as a fan base. Like, I look at Philadelphia, and as of late, they've been like kind of tremendous as like a sports city. Like, they got the who the hell's their baseball team? I can't think of right now.
Phillies.
Yeah, the Phillies. The Phillies been tremendous. Like, to the point when the Braves were there for the series, they didn't even cater them food. They're like, no, F you guys. Like, this is you guys versus us to the core, to every bit of it. And like, they're rewarded, even though it's like hasty at times, and it's like kind of awkward when like they're booing Santa Claus, or it's like really aggressive towards like these teams are in winning situations. Like, well, no, because ultimately I think that reflects on the ownership. The ownership's kind of embarrassed by it. They don't want to have to deal with these things. It's ugly PR, so they do the best they can to actually win these games. I think they hold those organizations like to that standard. I think that's how we should move as Detroit Lions fans as well too. And I'm with you. I think in 2021 they kind of did that in a sense where like, you had that one game, I think it was just before Halloween or on Halloween. It was actually to the Eagles because the devil. there weren't a lot of fans that didn't show up. A lot of people went, and it was the Halloween festivities. It could have been a good time. The Detroit Lions got killed. Weren't a lot of fans there. They were getting booed. Move forward on to, like, I think it was last year. And again, this is like while they're like going through that little rough stretch where they had Calvin Johnson come out at halftime for, I think it was the Ravens game. I believe so it was because of the field goal or whatever. But whatever game it was, they booed Sheila at halftime when she came out alongside while she was introducing like Calvin Johnson. But those things stick with like a good owner, I should say. Yeah, wants to like win you over in those scenarios, and I think Sheila is that. She's listened to both the players when she changed like the turf. Like she's gone out and spent the money. She's been patient with like the regime they got to. Do you want to say something real quick?
No, you can go on. You preaching right now, bro.
I think Sheila is that. I will say that. Expectations on the season, though. I mean, that's another thing too. Is like what expectations do you want me to have on this being a Super Bowl roster when you come trade deadline? We're looking at teams that are truly contending, like both the 49ers or the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're making moves constantly. I mean, even just as recently as Philadelphia signing Shaq Leonard from the Colts after he just got hit waivers. Same situation with Philadelphia grabbing Kevin Byard or the Niners grabbing like Chase Young. We didn't make those moves. We didn't make those moves alongside with our true contenders.
You were one of the people preaching that at the time too. And at the time, I was one of the ones like, you know what? I think they got enough, but they literally were like one injury away from not having enough. But with Sheila, I'm so glad that you said that because I do think she's the type of owner. Now that we have that owner, that's why I believe that these expectations should be things that we voice. If we keep saying we're okay with just one playoff win, well, those are the moves that we saw them make or not make.
I don't think we should be okay with the one playoff win. I mean, like, congratulate them and like kudos to Sheila, but like remind them like we want more. We want the whole damn thing, right? We're not gonna settle for mediocrity.